So with 2 down in the 4th inning, and the Mets leading 2-0. If you joined us late with 1 out, Pashorek single to left. Hernandez hit a ground ball to Duncan. It looked like at least a force, maybe a double play, and the throw wound up in right field. Carter's fly ball got Pashorek home. Strawberry's single got Hernandez home, and that's it. Meanwhile, the Dodgers have only 1 hit against Lynch, so it is 2-0 New York, and we're in the 4th. To Wally Backman, who has flied to center and single to right. Tommy Lasorda with his team leading by 7.5 and 8. But as we said, 17 of the next 19 on the road. Look out. Oh, that fastball got him. So an 0-2 fastball. And down goes Backman.
You just can't get out of the way of the fastball when it's thrown right there. Look where it gets him. I mean, if you're going to get hit, that's the spot to get hit. Nobody likes to get hit, except that he got more pain going down and getting hit.
Right on the wallet. Right there. Left pocket.
Left pocket. You'll only hurt at the movies tonight.
You can sit side saddled and watch a Western. And here's Tom Pashorek. Single to left and struck out. 1 for 2. Backman with 25 stolen bases leads the Mets. So we'll see if 2 out. He wants to try and run the pain off.
Oh, he'll run on this time if Pashorek gives him a chance. I don't say this particular pitch.
Little lead, and there he goes. Off speed, and the throw into center field. And Backman is on his way to third, and Landreau gets it into Duncan.
See, he got Scioscia and he got me. And I'll tell you why he got us. And Scioscia called for a curveball, and watch where Scioscia catches it. It's a slow curveball, perfect pitch to run on. He really wasn't set, and it's the reason for the high throw. I thought he would get at least 1 pitch to set himself and go, and I should know better. Don't ever believe a ball player. You knew he was going to run his time, but I didn't think it'd be the first pitch, but he burned us.
So Backman at third with 2 out. 1 ball and no strikes to Tom Pashorek. That's in there. 1 ball, 1 strike. Pashorek scored a run in the 1st inning. The Dodgers now have committed 2 errors in the game, an unsettling thought for Lasorda. 1-1. Ground ball to the left to Duncan, but a nice hop. And that's that. So they leave Wally Backman at third at the end of 3.5 innings. The Mets 2 and the Dodgers nothing.
Don't be alone. You're watching a man at work.
Let's see. I know it's here somewhere. Ah, found it.
I remember we were panicked. Find a home that last day or fly home not knowing where we'd live. But our Century 21 broker wouldn't give up.
He showed us the last house late that night. And guess what? Perfect and at the right price. How do you find people like that?
All you gotta do is pick up the phone. Put #1 to work for you. Century 21.
Now, as I understand it, Bobby, in baseball, you keep your players in a bullpen, choke your bats, and steal bases?
That's right, Freddie, and just about everybody drinks light beer from Miller.
Oh, this is the one that's less filling.
Right again, and that's important to an old base stealer like me, and it tastes great.
Certainly does. Now, about these bases, mate, how many did you steal?
681.
Wow. 681? Blimey, where do you keep them all?
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
Everybody, it's Uncle Joe.
We all like to spend the weekends with family and friends. That's why AT&T saves you 60% on long distance every weekend, and they don't stop with savings. They give you service, too. Calling from anywhere to anywhere. Operator service, calls that sound as close as you feel, and 60% off.
Joe, knew you'd make it somehow.
Savings and service. That's AT&T. The more you hear, the better we sound. AT&T, the right choice.
The NFL plays here, New York. The Jets engines are fired up, ready to soar into a new season. The NFL plays here, Los Angeles. Al Davis says, just win, baby, and the Raiders get results. Football's winning his team. The Jets battle the Raiders. The action starts with NFL 85.
For the moment, this is the biggest play of the game.
And it looks like he just throws it to the wrong side of Sachs now. Sachs looked like he was expecting the ball to the outfield side of that bag, and it's not even close. It's a case of working together, and they have been working together. He just do it badly.
So Duncan leading off slaps a half swing right back to Lynch. So Duncan trying desperately to get out of a slump, and he is now in chains. He has 2 hits in his last 37 at-bats, trying to slap it by Lynch. And with 1 out, Kenny Landreau.
Boy, it's like I've heard for so long. It's like the common cold. I don't care what you do. It's going to last 2 weeks.
Kenny Landreau struck out in the first inning. You know, in 1983, no Mets pitcher, no starting pitcher, won more than 10 games. This club already has Gooden, Darling, and Lynch with 10 or more. And the Mets have risen from the ashes of 1983. In 83, the Mets were last or next to last for 7 straight years. And then in 1984, Davy Johnson arrived upon the scene, and with him 2 kids named Darryl Strawberry and Dwight Gooden. 2-1.
Lynch is a great example for young pitchers. I mean, if you saw him on the sidelines, he's not going to have you oohing and ahhing, but he's got better stuff than he gets credit for, and he knows how to pitch. He's in and out, always around that plate.
Question. 2-1. Check swing, foul. Would you say it is an advantage or a disadvantage looking at Lynch and the hitters? If you're a hitter, is it a disadvantage playing today after having looked at the smoke of Dwight Gooden last night? And you're seeing a breaking ball pitcher today. What do you think?
Be a disadvantage the next day if you face Gooden or the night before, whoever was pitching. He really is something.
2-2. Well, do you think then that a breaking ball pitcher like Lynch has a slight edge following a smoker like Gooden?
Definitely. It's like bringing the Yankee situation. Negro starts, and then you bring in Righetti.
2-2. Ball 3. The Dodgers have had 1 man on base, Sachs singled, and then Royce hit into the double play. And Lasorda, Perinoski, and company a little restless now. Limited to 1 hit, and they're in the 4th inning. 3-2. Off speed and fouled away.
You know, when you even watching the game that Gooden pitches, you feel like it's up, it's fast. Curveball fast, fastball fast. Lynch, he's always got you off balance. It's fast, slow, faster, slow. He's got you faked out all the time. And a guy like Gooden does that to you. Gooden will make a breakdancer out of you.
3-2. And that's on the corner. And Kenny can't believe it. So Landreau has struck out twice. Lynch looks like he's playing catch with Gary Carter. And 2 out, the batter is Mike Marshall. Take a look at this pitch.
He never gives you the middle of the plate. Look at that glove where it is, and look where he threw it. You could stand back there with a pair of pliers and catch him.
You know, the other night, the Dodgers were playing Montreal, and going into the 9th inning, Oral Hershiser had made only 75 pitches. He wound up in the 80s. And it got me thinking about number of pitches in a game. So I started to ask people about what's the lowest number. And I remember Stan Williams said he charted a game as a pitching coach, Tommy John, in the 70s. And we finally got it down to like 72 pitches for a 9-inning game. And then we checked one other place because we had a hunch. Randy Jones, and we called San Diego. Randy Jones beat Pittsburgh about 1975. 9 innings. He made 68 pitches.
Only 6 guys were playing.
Can you believe that?
Tom, that's impossible.
Ground ball to third. Ray Knight over to first in time to get him. And the Dodgers lulled again by Mr. Lynch. And at the end of 4, the Mets 2, Dodgers nothing. We'll be back after these messages from your local station.
Howard Cosell versus Saturday Night Live.
You're kidding, right?
And may the best man win.
You pay for your thrills. You know what I'm saying to you?
Tonight.
During Robert's huge Labor Day sales spectacular, save 33% on all furniture and accessories. Save on Broyhill and Pennsylvania House, Dixie and Henderson. And with a furniture purchase of $500 or more, receive $100 worth of accessories. Plus, save on bedding from Sealy, Serta, May & Company, and Soma. With many bedding sets, you qualify for a 12-inch black and white TV for only $9 during Robert's Labor Day sales spectacular.
Sale extended through Monday, September 9th.
Shell SU-2000 is a patented high-octane performance gasoline. It's designed for smooth, quiet power, and it fights critical engine deposits that can cause knock. Turn your car into an SU-2000 performer. Get Shell SU-2000 Super Unleaded Gasoline.
August 30th, the fury of Hurricane Elena reaches out toward the Bay Area. Thousands heed the warnings of Newswatch 8 and take shelter.
We left about 2:30, 3 o'clock Friday night, Saturday morning.
While the hurricane played its deadly waiting game, more and more residents turned every half hour to status reports from Bob Barron and Bill Ratliff.
It was good to have the coverage that we had, because it lets you know where it was and where it was going.
When people had a chance to compare news coverage, they made their choice.
We definitely watched Channel 8 a lot.
Channel 8 salutes St. Petersburg Junior College.
There you can see the best records in the major leagues. That includes Toronto's loss today. What's interesting is the team enjoying the largest lead in the 4 divisions is not there. The Dodgers have won 77 and lost 54. And we go into the 5th inning with the Mets leading the Dodgers 2-0. To not quite conclude the thought on the number of pitches, so far Ed Lynch has made 35 pitches. And that's going to be a base hit into left field. So Hernandez 1 for 3 as he singles to left. Now if Lynch stays on the pattern, he's going to naturally go over 70. But when Randy Jones made 68 pitches, that's less really than 8 pitches an inning for an entire game.
That's unbelievable. It really is unbelievable.
Then Larry Bernard, the Bear, the pitching coach of the Montreal Expos, said, well, it wasn't in a big league game, but he said, I remember a kid in the minor leagues pitched an 11-inning game, 77 pitches. So it's fun to find out about those who can do it with the minimum. Gary Carter, strike.
I wish there was a way, but we had a pitcher on the Cardinals, Charlie Red Barrett. He used to pitch fast, and he didn't make many pitches. I just wonder what his lowest pitch game. If he's listening, he'll let me know.
Yeah, well, if it gets any lower than 68, sell. We're in the 5th. The Mets 2 runs, 6 hits. The Dodgers no runs, 1 hit, 2 errors. Hernandez at first, held on by Brock. And Carter followed by Strawberry.
I'm surprised with Hernandez on at first base that he doesn't say to Brock, listen, you get that foot in fair territory. You remember they made a big deal out of Hernandez in foul territory, and Brock has got it maybe just barely on the line. Can't really tell with that shot. There's the line. I think he's just circumventing the rules, not breaking them.
That's like W.C. Fields found reading the Bible, and they said, what are you doing? He said, I'm looking for loopholes. 0-2, the count. The Dodgers, of course, with a runner at first, cannot overshift, but Sachs is still up the middle, though there's hardly anybody on the right side of the infield. Pulled on the ground by Madlock for a base hit. Hernandez will hold at second. So Royce gives up his 7th hit. And with nobody out, Strawberry, Foster, and Knight coming up.
Bill Robinson has made Strawberry his pet project. As we look at the home run leaders since the All-Star break, and there's Strawberry right at the top. And one of the things he's convinced Strawberry of is that you can use the whole field, and he can hit the ball over the center field fence, the left field fence, which he's done against Royce. And by waiting on the ball, he keeps that front shoulder in there, and when he snaps that bat, it means business.
He has something else to do, too, to make Darrell more aggressive. Bill Robinson, the first base coach, will fine Darrell Strawberry $25 anytime Darrell Strawberry strikes out looking at a fastball. And when the season's over, they'll have a wonderful dinner. 1 ball, no strikes to count. Fastball for a strike, 1-1.
The thought behind that, as we look at the base runners, Hernandez at second and Carter at first.
Down in the bullpen, Carlos Diaz begins to loosen up.
Is that he wants him. Curve, you're not going to drive.
Leg, and he tried to jerk everything to right field and out of the ballpark, and he's changed that. 1-2.
One other thought on that is that if you're looking for the fastball, you can still hit the curve, but you can't hit the fastball if you're looking curve.
1-2 the count. 2-2, fastball away. We're having some technical difficulties with the audio, so we ask you to bear with us. Keith Hernandez at second, Gary Carter at first. Nobody out, 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 nobody out. Strawberry has matured considerably, married, father of a young son, whole different lifestyle now. And he hits that fastball to left. Guerrero coming to the line, foul ground, can't get it. And Pedro hurt himself as he tried to avoid the gate. Looks like the left wrist. Guerrero has a bad knee, but it's his wrist, I believe, that he jammed. He's not ready to go back and play. Let's take another look.
He's going pretty good, and right now you'll see him going to defense, and Lasorda and the trainer Bill Bueller are going out. Let's see what he does. He tries to protect himself. There's that left hand up against the top railing. And both Lasorda and the trainer are going out to check with the franchise.
Guerrero also has a bad knee, but I'm pretty sure it's his left wrist that he twisted.
Looks like he just tried to protect himself and jammed it.
The top of the box seats are padded to try and furnish additional protection. And it looked like Guerrero, in hitting the box seat, just bent his hand back, and the wrist took it all. Let's watch. There's the gloved hand. He hits it, and now as his full weight hits, the hand has to come back, and he finally takes that left hand off. It hurts so much.
The gate opened, too. He sprung it open, so he hit it pretty hard, man.
So Guerrero, with a sore left wrist and back of the left hand, evidently would be more accurate.
That's the franchise, the way he's hitting.
You know, everything went so well for the Dodgers for so long. They gained 14 games in the standings in 6 weeks without even playing San Diego. Now they'll go out on a road trip and play Atlanta, Cincinnati, San Diego. They'll play 17 out of 19. They are coming off a poor homestand. And if anything happens to this man, the National League West is very much alive and up for grabs. And he's going to stay in. Now, whether he's able to grip a bat, he's due to lead off when the Dodgers hit in the bottom of the 5th inning.
When he swings that bat, he's going to have to turn that hand over. That's when we're going to get the supreme test.
So the Mets leading 2-0 and looking for more. And the count 2-2 to Darrell Strawberry. Strawberry with 2 singles to right field. Last night, he hit the ball to the right side and finally got the key hit to left when he doubled in the only 2 runs of the game. 2-2. Big jug, ball 3. Now let's see what the Mets do. The runners, Hernandez and Carter, are checking with Harrelson. Remember Carter with the bad leg, and Hernandez does not run well.
Scioscia's asking him to take a look. You would think they'd be holding.
Strawberry with Foster to follow. The runners hold. Fastball, line drive, base hit. However, Hernandez was going back to second, thinking Madlock might catch it. So all he can do is advance to third. The bases are loaded with nobody out. Royce has allowed 8 hits in 4 innings, and he is really on the ropes. And Foster, Knight, and Santana coming up. The one escape hatch that Jerry Royce has right now is the fact that George Foster hits into some double plays. But he is also a fly ball home run hitter, and Peranowski going out to talk to Royce.
Strawberry has really become a tough hitter. He just uses all the ballpark, and Bill Robinson at first base standing there has to be proud of his star pupil. That ball he hit there was a good pitch, just went with it. Hernandez couldn't do anything but do what he did and wait to see the ball get through there, because if he runs into a double play, that really kills the inning. And you've got Foster, Knight, and Santana to drive in some runs.
So Darryl Strawberry has 4 consecutive hits. He had the double last at bat last night, and he's 3 for 3. And look out here. George Foster single to right and fouled out. Bases loaded, nobody out. The infield back in double play depth. Fouled away. Brian Holden, a right-hander. Carlos Diaz, the left-hander, in the Dodger bullpen. And Royce in a lot of trouble, especially the way Ed Lynch has been pitching. High drive into deep right center. Back goes Landreau. He's going to make a play on the track. 2 runners tag up. Hernandez scores. Carter to third. Strawberry holding at first. And it is 3-0 Mets as Foster picks up Hernandez. The Mets are doing what a good ball club does. They're picking up the scoring fly ball. They had one in the first inning when Carter's fly ball got Paciorek home. Now here in the 5th inning, Foster picks up Hernandez, and the Mets lead 3-0.
The Mets are doing what Casey Stengel used to always say, executing.
Well, Royce with his head on the chopping block right now, and Ray Knight fouled out, hit into a force play, and he's tired of 2s. Every time he comes to the plate, there's 2 men aboard. Ball 1. With 2 men on in the first inning, he fouled out. With 2 men on in the 3rd inning, he hit into a force play. Last night, with 2 men on, he fouled out, and with 2 men on, he grounded into a double play. He's got to eat a hole in you after a while.
He's been around long enough. He's about ready to hit the jackpot.
Ray hitting .212. 1 ball and no strikes. Keep an eye on Strawberry. Strawberry has 22 stolen bases. Gary Carter at third. One and 0. Fouled away. 1 ball, 1 strike. So Diaz and Holton have stopped throwing. They're ready. Meanwhile, Ed Lynch has completed 6 of his 25 starts. He is leading 3-0. And a little earlier this year, he had a 6-game winning streak. 1-1 to Ray Knight. Ball 2, 2-1. Ron Peronowski and Lasorda sweating in the Dodger dugout. Ed Lynch has allowed 1 hit in 4 innings. The Dodgers start to fall more behind than 3 or 4, and they're really in trouble. And then, of course, once you get in the middle to the end, you get people like McDowell and Orozco. 2-1. Strawberry at first, Gary Carter at third, Royce on the griddle. 3-0 Mets, 5th inning, 1 out. And that's driven to center. Landreau coming up for it, can't make it. It's a base hit, and the run will score brought in by Carter, and it is 4-0 Mets. So Ray Knight singles to center. Carter was tagging up. And Carter makes it into the dugout with the 4th run.
Looked like Landreau might have a chance to make the play. He charges hard, but then it falls short. And actually, short hops the ball, and a good play. But can't do anything but just run it back in. Run scores.
So the Mets scored 2 in the 1st inning on 3 hits and a big error. The Mets have scored 2 runs here in the 5th inning on 4 hits and a scoring fly ball. And the batter will be Rafael Santana with Strawberry at second and Knight at first. One away. And the runners go. And here's ball 1, juggled by Socha. So heaping further indignities on Royce. The Mets pull off the double steal. Strawberry stealing third, Knight to second. Socha with a pitch in the dirt didn't have a chance, so now they'll walk Santana. And Ed Lynch will be coming up with the bases loaded and 1 out in a minute.
I tell you, so far, the Dodgers are playing like it's a day game after a night game. The Mets, they know they're in that big pennant race. Stay with the Cardinals, and they are doing everything right.
So Davy Johnson, seeing his ball club enjoying a fine road trip. They've won 6 out of 8. The Mets will come home and play a 3-game series with the Cardinals on the 10th, 11th, and 12th. They'll go to Montreal and come back home and play Philadelphia, Chicago, Pittsburgh, and then finish on the road. Philadelphia, Chicago, Pittsburgh.
You know, there's only 1 man out. Now, Ed Lynch is a good hitter, but you certainly have to be alive for a squeeze for no other reason to stay away from that double play and give Bachman a chance. But Lynch is a pretty good hitter, but you certainly have to be awake.
And he has 9 sacrifices, so he's excellent with the bat. 0-1. No balls, 1 strike to count to Ed Lynch. Darryl Strawberry at third. He's the guy to watch if they're putting on a squeeze. Ray Knight at second. Rafael Santana at first. Strawberry poised at the ready, not coming, and they pitch out. 1-1. Anytime you're in the ballpark and you're wondering about a squeeze play, forget about the pitcher or the hitter, whoever. Keep your eye on that man at third. He's the one who's going to tell you he has to break just as the pitcher is delivering the ball. Strawberry is not coming. Ball 2. It is quite a knack for the runner not to commit himself too soon. If he is a hair too soon, the pitcher can then misdirect the pitch. But if he times it perfectly, the pitcher no longer can change the pattern of the pitch, and you really see a little artistry. So watch Darryl. 2 balls and 1 strike.
He had a play on, Vin, I'll tell you, because Lynch wasn't sure of it.
Strawberry is coming, and it's fouled away. So the squeeze was on, and the count 2-2. I'll tell you one thing, Lynch took a long time. After all, it is September, not to know the squeeze. He got in the box, he backed out, he kept looking down at third. Maybe they changed signs.
No, it's not that so much as when a guy gets it, it's like he doesn't believe it. Are you kidding me? You know, give me the sign again. That's the look. And then whenever you think there's a squeeze on, the catcher looks at the hitter, look at his eyes, and they'll light up like neon tubing.
2-2. Down he goes. So that was the key play, that one shot at the squeeze. 2 down, and Wally Backman the batter. For Jerry Royce, who has had a strikeout high of 7 this year against Pittsburgh, he has picked up only 2 strikeouts today. Backman has flied to center, singled, and hit by a pitch, you remember. Shades of the Broadway show Fanny. Then he stole second, went to third on the overthrow, and stayed there. Change missed. Ball 1. 4-0 Mets. We're in the 5th inning. To repeat, Atlanta is at St. Louis tonight. Philadelphia at San Diego. Cincinnati at Chicago. Toronto lost. The Yankees are at home with Oakland tonight. California is at Baltimore tonight. Milwaukee at Kansas City tonight. And you can see Philadelphia leading San Diego in the 6th inning. 2-0. Fouled away. Remember we told you that about the number of pitches, and Ed Lynch had made 35 pitches in 4 innings. How about this? As he sits there and rests, Jerry Royce has made 31 pitches this inning. Fouled away again. 2-2. Two balls, 2 strikes to Wally Backman. The Mets enjoying 2 in the 1st and 2 in the 5th. And Ed Lynch has allowed just 1 hit in 4 innings. Backman with a chance to really break the game open now. Foul tipped and held by Socha. So the Mets get 2 and lead 3. And at the end of 4½, 4-0 New York.
Dinner extension.
And when you look at that, you realize a hit or 2 along the way, and the Mets could spend the rest of the day at the beach. However, by stranding 9, they have kept the Dodgers in the game. Mets 4, Dodgers nothing. And now we'll get the test for Pedro Guerrero and his left hand. You remember how he crashed into the box seat and he hurt the hand. We'll see whether he's all right or not. 0 for 1, he popped up in the 2nd inning. Right.
Ed Lynch has thrown a strike on the first pitch to 12 of the 13 batters he's faced.
Well, that's remarkable. Even for someone who only averages 1 walk per game. Ed Lynch. He's the senior member of the firm of the New York Mets. One and 2.
He took a pretty good swing at that one, Vin. It was outside. It was the kind of a ball you had to reach for. It didn't seem to bother his hand when he swung. You didn't see him wince or anything.
Well, let's see now. 1 and 2 the count of Pedro. Out away. The first time I ever saw Guerrero and I looked at that chest of his, that upper body, my first reaction was to tell him to exhale. It is massive. One and two. Fouled away.
Did you see where Carter set himself up on that outside corner and Lynch just dropped the curveball? If he'd go to the carnival, you remember the carnival when you threw at those bottles? I think Lynch could break him with his accuracy.
You know, when Lasorda was a kid pitcher with the Dodgers, he and another pitcher went to a carnival in Coney Island, and they won about 15 of those little pandas. Little dribbler foul. Anyway, they brought the pandas, the stuffed teddy bears, and they brought one of them from the car into the clubhouse, and the players said, "Wow, I'd like to, how much you want for that?" So he said, "Oh, $7.50. Great, you got one." So then another fellow said, "Well, can you get any more?" He said, "Yeah, I think so." And he had a trunk load of them, sold every one of them, made some money. Next day, they went back to Coney Island, and the guy said, "Oh, no, I know who you guys are." 1 and 2.
Probably made more money selling those things than they did in salary.
4-0 Mets. 5th inning. Got him. So Ed Lynch just rolling along. Picks up his 3rd strikeout. His high is 7 for the year. I'd like to remind you, NBC Sports continues its coverage of the '85 baseball season. Next week, some of you will see the high-flying St. Louis Cardinals battling the Chicago Cubs. Others, Gary Carter and the Mets and the Expos in Montreal. Next Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern. It'll all begin with Major League Baseball, an inside look. Madlock flied to center in the 2nd inning. One ball and 1 strike. And the pattern continues. That first pitch is strike to Madlock.
And never throws the ball down the middle. It's either on the inside or the outside corner.
1 and 2. He was lucky to get a piece of that.
As you well know, ball players have the expression of calling it a collar when you don't get the base hit. Lynch gives you what is known as a comfortable collar. You don't feel badly until you read the paper tomorrow morning and you're 0 for 4.
1 and 2 the count. Fastball. Fouled it away. Down in the Dodger dugout, they are trying to give Guerrero some support with that left hand, and they are taping the wrist. So it is still hurting him. Fly ball into shallow left field. Foster coming in and over. Strawberry as well, and it's Foster.
That was one of the few times that he missed his target because Carter wanted that ball on the outside part to play, and he actually got it high and tight and was able to tie him up.
Philadelphia leading San Diego 2-0. The Cubs knocked off Cincinnati. Rose went 0 for 4. And Minnesota upended Toronto, so the Jays are struggling. The Red Sox in the first game defeating Cleveland 11-9. We have 2 out here, and Mike Socia is only the second hitter who has not had the first pitch a strike. 4-0 Mets with 2 out in the 5th inning. On the corner, 1-1. Lynch has not come close to walking anybody. Just dabbing a little here and a little there. In his other 2 starts against the Dodgers this year, he lasted 5 1/3 innings. Line to right field, base hit. So the Dodgers get their second hit, and Greg Brock, the batter.
Hernandez does so many things. You saw him look at the bench, ask Johnson if he's going to play halfway, and then he walks into the pitcher and tells him exactly what he's going to do, whether he's halfway or going to be on the bag. So there's no indecision. Find out and tell everybody what's going on. He's going to be behind them.
Well, we see now Brock goes first ball swinging. Everybody else has looked up, and it's strike one on the scoreboard. Breaking ball, ball one. Brock hitting .254, and of course he has the power to get a club back in with one swing. He has 17 home runs, 51 runs batted in. But he came off a month of August where he had failed to hit a home run and had only 2 runs batted in. So he was really chilled in August. 1-1.
Lynch has been able to make him look bad with the off-speed pitch, especially the slow curveball. See if he goes to it.
They're not holding Socia with 2 out. 2 balls, 1 strike. After Brock comes Steve Sachs. Mets 4, Dodgers nothing. Bottom of the 5th, 2 away. Ball 3. And I would certainly think with his power, he'll be allowed to swing 3-1 against a control pitcher.
Go to the bank. You know he's got it.
If he just gets it in the spot where he feels he can really drive it, you know he'll be hacking. 3-1. He does. High drive into deep right field. She is gone.
Well, if you ever needed proof of what it means to be ahead of a pitcher and how much it means, here's a classic example. A 3-1 pitch right down the middle, one of the few times he's done it, and was Brock ever waiting for it?
Well, that was some pitch. 3-1 fastball. Woof, against somebody who can drive it out. The bunt by Sachs. Ray Knight can't make the play. Psychologically, that's a perfect play. Following a home run, a team no doubt thinking about, uh-oh, it's a tough game, and bingo, you burn them before they know it. That's like in football. When a team recovers the other team's fumble, you go for broke right away, thinking they're still muttering to themselves about the bad break.
Well, you could see they almost like had their head down, like to make one bad pitch, spot one pitch badly, and boom, 2 runs, and now we've got ourselves a 4-2 ball game. Now the tying run is coming up, and Lasorda's going to a pinch hitter, Terry Whitfield.
Whitfield hitting for Jerry Royce. He has been the Dodgers' most productive pinch hitter. He has 11 hits this year coming off the bench, including 2 home runs and 9 runs batted in. They brought him in last night to pinch hit against a sinker ball pitcher, and that was a wrist, Roger McDowell, and Whitfield grounded into a double play. He does not have good running speed. Right. 4-2 Mets in the 5th inning as Greg Brock hits his 18th home run of the year, and Sachs follows with a bunt single. Lynch, like most control pitchers, will give up a lot of home runs. He has 17. Ron Darling has given up 17. 0-2. 1-2.
The 2 sides of that coin of giving up home runs, the other side is that you see a lot of good defensive plays because the infielders and outfielders are ready. He's around the plate. just like hitters know they're not going to be knocked down or the guy's wild, so they're ready to hack. So control pitchers do give up the home runs, but they also get a lot of good plays made behind them.
1-2 to Terry Whitfield. Ken Howell is all alone in the Dodger bullpen, so he figures to be pitching in the 6th inning. Hard-throwing right-hander. Meanwhile, the Dodgers trying to get closer. 2-2, the count to Terry Whitfield. I think the only 3-ball count that Lynch had, as we look at sacks, was to Brock. And he just fools Whitfield. But the Dodgers, with 2 out, get 3 hits for 2 runs. It's 4-2 Mets. Now, here's another edition of Baseball Remembered.
Footwork presents Baseball Remembers. Brought to you by new Footwork Athlete's Foot Remedy, your ultimate weapon to cure and protect against athlete's foot. Mickey Mantle remembers playing for the Yankee dynasty.
I was really fortunate. When I came to the Yankees, they'd already won like 2 or 3 straight World Series, and that team that I joined won 5 in a row. You know, you do get spoiled. We was always trying to win a pennant, so we was always had pressure on us, you know. And I used to think, boy, I'd give anything just to play a year without all this pressure on me. Well, finally got to do it after 1964. We went from 1st to like 8th or something like that. Didn't have anything to play for, and it was the worst thing that ever happened to me. It wasn't like the teams that I was used to. I was spoiled, I guess, and thought it'd be great to play without any pressure. Whenever there wasn't anything to play for, it was just a job.
New Footwork now. Cures the pain and itch of athlete's foot, prevents its return.
It's not a second guess, but it's certainly worth a chance to explore. Ed Lynch throwing strikes on the first pitch, falling behind 3-1 to a home run hitter, leading 4-0. Would you second guess yourself a 3-1 fastball to Greg Brock?
No, because I would not want to give him a base on balls. He'd have to do exactly what he did. And I know you can say, well, why give him a good ball to hit? He's not going to hit home runs every time. You don't want the base on balls. That upsets a ball club more than anything. You have to get him to throw strikes.
But, of course, he was throwing strikes with his breaking ball.
Yeah, but I imagine Carter felt better that he'd get his fastball over.
And, of course, everybody in the ballpark knew that Brock was going to get the green light to swing 3-1.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Carter knew that, but he was still going to make him hit the ball. You got to make him, when you get a 4-run lead, the one thing you want to stay away from is the base on balls.
Well, we'll take a look.
I'm getting emotionally involved.
Kenny Howell now comes out of the Dodger bullpen. 4-2 in favor of the Mets. So Jerry Royce is gone, and now Howell will be pitching to Fashoric, Hernandez, and Carter. Ball 1. Jerry Royce, in his 5 innings, allowed 4 runs and 9 hits. Was unable to retire the side in order in any inning. A drive to center, but Landreau is there. And, of course, the old story, waste not, want not, usually comes up to haunt you.
First baseman.
Last night, the Dodgers left 11 men on base, but they left 10 of the 11 from the 7th inning on, while the Mets did nothing. And then the Mets won it in the 13th. Today, the Mets have left 9 men on through 5 innings. And suddenly they're in a ball game where a base hit here or there, they could have torn it wide open. Hernandez aboard on the error, a key play on the throwing error by Duncan. Grounded out and then single to left. Keith 1 for 3, hitting 2-9.
Straight away, as hard as Howell is throwing, I'm not so sure Hernandez is going to get around that much.
Fouled off, 1-2. You know, some people, I think, have the mistaken impression that Keith Hernandez is a home run hitter. But when you think about it, this might cool you on that idea. Roy Smalley, Bill Buckner, Davey Lopes, Dan Dreesen. They all have more home runs career-wise than...
He spreads that ball around, sprays it around. Good contact hitter.
One and two the count. Howell is being backed up by Babo Castillo in the Dodger bullpen. 2-2. Howell is a 90 to 95 mile an hour fastball pitcher, used a lot. Castillo with a pretty good screwball. So one ideally suited to follow the other. Like that point you were making before, Joe, about Phil Niekro and Dave Righetti. Got him. So Howell picks up a strikeout. And the batter will be Gary Carter.
Ball was not in the strike zone. Breaks right down. In fact, it looked like it almost hit the dirt the way Socher caught it.
Well, here's Gary Carter. He has a 9-game hitting streak with his base hit in the 5th inning. He had a scoring fly ball and a walk as well, and he scored a run. He'd been busy. It figures. Gary hitting .288. A local boy who has come back to try and give the Dodgers a bad time. And another one on deck, Darryl Strawberry. Plus the former Dodger Tom Paciorek, who's playing in right field. And the added prospect tomorrow, the starting pitcher for the Mets, is an ex-Dodger, Sid Fernandez.
I got to tell you what he said to me before the game. He said, say hello to everybody in Hawaii, especially Jack Lord and Don Ho. How do you like that? Of all the guys. There he is.
Ball 2. 2 balls and no strikes to Gary. The sound on today's show is brought to you by Nyla Mack and Let's Pretend. You're old enough to remember. Right, 3-1. It's a case where we didn't come here to win or lose, just survive. Out of play. Carter followed by Strawberry. 2 out in the 6th inning. Fouled off. Four runs, 9 hits for New York. 2 runs, 4 hits, and 2 errors for the Dodgers. High pop foul off third. Madlock. For the first time today, the Mets are retired in order, and at the end of 5.5 innings, the Mets 4 and the Dodgers 2.
For the boys of summer, autumn is near.
NBC Sports kicks off the regular season with a doubleheader. Start the day at 12:30 Eastern with NFL 85. Join host Bob Costas, Pete Axtell, Ahmad Rashad, and national talk show host Larry King for the latest scores, interviews, and highlights of the exciting NFL action. First game, some of you will see the Houston Oilers host the defending AFC champion Miami Dolphins. The second half of the doubleheader, some will see the Raiders battle the Jets, plus regional action. Check your local listings for the games and times in your area. Your team plays here from opening day to Super Bowl 20. Kickoff with NBC Sports. Mariano Duncan, Ken Landreau, and Mike Marshall. Good off speed for a strike.
He's tried everything. Tried to bunt the first couple of times, slapped the ball back the last time, trying to beat it out. Couldn't do it. He's looking for a broken bat single. He's settled for it.
1-1. Ed Lynch battling and leading 4-2 here in the 6th inning. 1-1. Fastball. 1-2. Lynch was hospitalized for a couple of weeks this year with gastroenteritis. Otherwise, he might have had more victories than the 10 that he has going into today's game. Oh, boy. On-the-job training in the big leagues from Mariano Duncan. It's a tough way to hack it, and now he's furious at something that was said. Lynch and Ray Knight and Duncan, and then all of the Dodgers join in the melee. But as Duncan struck out, he suddenly turned and looked out at Lynch. And here we go. Ray Knight, along with Ed Lynch, were able to double team Duncan. And no other blows were thrown to my knowledge. Let's take a look, if we can, at the strikeout and then watch Duncan walking away if we have it. Just watch now and see. Here's the swing for strike 3.
It was a slow curveball. He looked bad on it. He seems to just heading for the dugout.
Now he turns and he hollers at Lynch. Now plate umpire Davidson can't get him. Ray Knight grabbed him. Then Lynch is behind Knight, and then here comes the entire cast.
A couple punches landed there, but in a fight like that, everybody just takes a swing, and if you happen to be on the end of the fist, you're going to get it. Doesn't make any difference what color the uniform is.
It looked like one punch that was thrown. Rookie Ralph Bryant got one shot in, I think, on Ray Knight.
I think Guerrero got a couple shots in there because he was around the perimeter and he was bongo drumming somebody.
And, of course, Guerrero and Duncan are hometown kids. Now let's see what the umpires decide. And that's Ray Knight, so he's okay. Knight wanted to make sure Lynch was all right.
But Davy Johnson made sure that Lynch didn't stay there. He took him out of the crowd and put him near the first baseline.
Let's see, after Duncan struck out, watch Lynch. I can read him. Come out here, he said. Okay, he called him out. He definitely said, come out here. He also said other words, but I can't repeat those.
I think Lynch was the first one to get to him. Look at him. He's like a wild man in there.
And Knight is the one who's all wrapped up now in the far upper left-hand corner. Knight's going down. So I'm not saying that Lynch started it, but I could read his lips when he said, come out here. Lasorda, who has been known to be in fights throughout his playing career, and once got into a fight with Charlie Fox before the game with the Giants even started, wants to find out how the umpires are going to play him. So Duncan strikes out, and now let's see. That's John Kibler. Kibler is just going to his position, as are the other umpires. Bob Davidson, the plate umpire, stations himself behind catcher Gary Carter. A brief flare-up, an exchange of words between Ed Lynch and Mariano Duncan. And evidently no ejections.
Center fielder, Ken Landreau.
So Kenny Landreau is the batter, and this thing heats up. Mets 4, Dodgers 2, 6th inning. Ground ball to the right side to Backman. 2 down in the 6th, and Mike Marshall coming up. We now get a report that Mariano Duncan has been ejected.
I really think it was the frustration of the slump, looking bad on the strikeout. He said something to Lynch. Lynch, as we read his lips, said something not very complimentary, and then said, come on out. Mariano Duncan did what he painted himself in the corner to do, and that's come out, and here we are. Frustration underlines it all.
So Mariano Duncan ejected from the game. And for Duncan, with 2 hits in 38 at-bats, and he finally broke under the pressure. 0-1 to count to Mike Marshall. We're only in the 6th inning. High fly ball to right field. Back goes Pashorek at the wall. It's gone.
That is just sheer strength. Outside part to plate, he really went with it, and that follow-through tells you how hard he was able to drive that ball. Pashorek looks for the wall because he's on the warning track, tries to get above it, and now he sits there.
And now you have Pedro Guerrero, who is the big brother to Mariano Duncan. Lasorda grabbed Guerrero to make sure he would not get involved in the fracas, perhaps seriously injure his left wrist, or be ejected from the game. 4-3 in favor of the Mets. Ground ball hard. Knight juggled. Recovered. In the dirt. Dug out by Hernandez. At the end of 6, 4-3 Mets. You bet we'll be back after these messages from your local station.
Formula Haviland Supreme challenges the world's most expensive motor oils. Synthetics like these and Haviland both exceed car makers' warranty. And both meet or exceed industry standards for wear, cleanliness, and rust protection. But only Haviland comes without the high price. And now save even more, up to $7 with Haviland's rebate offers. Look for this display at participating Texaco retailers and stores. Texaco's Haviland Supreme.
New Formula Haviland, now on sale at these stores.
Sports Extra, Sunday at 11:25.
With Mariano Duncan ejected from the game, Dave Anderson will take over at shortstop. And we go to the 7th inning, 4-3 Mets, with Darryl Strawberry to start it off. Strawberry, Foster, and Knight. So Mariano Duncan ejected. Anderson, who had a bad back, a chronic bad back, on the disabled list, recently rehabilitated in Albuquerque, and is back and now playing. 1-1. Roger McDowell begins to throw the sinker baller down in the New York Mets bullpen. There's McDowell. Roger pitched last night for 2 1/3 innings. And evidently Ed Lynch has just about tapped out. Strike 3 call. So with 1 out, George Foster, the batter, single, fouled out, and had a scoring fly ball. Joe, did you ever get messed up in a fight?
Oh.
A bad one?
Bad one. I was in 2 fights, lost both of them. One of them, I made the mistake of taking my mask off. Got clobbered twice, forgot he was a left-hand puncher. I don't like brawls like that.
No, that's when you're really
right in the middle, and I got stepped on. Don't like him. I'm a peace-loving man.
Here's Foster. Strike. Fastball.
And I like when managers say, don't want you sitting on the bench when the fight breaks out. Get out there. And all the Scribini's got to get out in the front line.
Foul called away. How about the bullpenners who have to run, and by the time they get there, it's history.
That's right. That's not bad. You look like you won in.
Look at those Lions, huh?
That's right. Sitting there on lawn chairs saying, if the fight breaks out now, don't you run too fast. My bubble gum's going to break.
0-2. Two to George. Ray Knight to follow. The Mets 4 runs, 9 hits. Dodgers 3 runs, 5 hits. The Dodgers getting back in the game on a 2-run home run by Brock and a solo job by Marshall. Still 1-2. The last base hit for the New York Mets was Ray Knight's single in the 5th inning. So the last 6 have been retired in order. And again, remember, the Mets had 9 men left on base through 5 innings. Foul ball. Still 1-2. When they say let George do it, he usually does it against the Dodgers. These two teams meet one more time tomorrow. Oral Hershiser, 14-3, will go for the Dodgers. Sid Fernandez, the ex-Dodger, as you look at Oral, Sid Fernandez with a record of 6-8 will be going for the Mets. Ball 3. So Tommy Lasorda has lost his shortstop, Mariano Duncan. And it would appear as if the Mets are thinking about taking Lynch out of the game. On the thumbs, fly ball to shallow center to Landreau.
Third baseman, Ray Knight.
Ray Knight coming up, fouled out, hit into a force play, and he had the last base hit. It was Knight who singled in the 5th inning. With all of the injuries he had this year, you would think he'd be the last one to get involved. There's a shot backhanded by Sachs to get him. And Howell is okay. And it looked like he had his spikes knocked off. Here's another edition of the 7th inning stretch.
Gatorade Thirst Quencher presents the 7th inning stretch. Gatorade is thirst aid for that deep down body thirst.
Originally signed by the Cleveland Indians, this Dominican dandy has been giving National League opponents the blues since 1978. Can you name him? Pure power is what Los Angeles' Pedro Guerrero is all about. June 1985 will always be remembered. During the month, Guerrero hit .344, drove in 27 runs, and hit 15 home runs, setting a National League mark for most homers in a month. Coming back from a disappointing 1984, Guerrero proved the strength was still in his stroke. To pitchers, he's a late-inning nightmare, but to Los Angeles, he's the key to winning in the West. Pedro Guerrero, a 6-foot stick of Dodger dynamite.
Here's how Ken Howell almost had his spikes knocked off.
Knight really thought he had himself a base hit because he hits the ball hard. Kind of got tangled up. He jumped.
Attention, please.
Sachs really gets him easily, and when Knight gets down to first base, he stopped to talk to the umpire as if to say, did he really stop that ball?
Now the Mets make 2 changes. Howard Johnson takes over at third base, and Roger McDowell takes over on the mound. I would assume that Howard Johnson would bat 9th, and McDowell would bat in Knight's spot. That way Johnson hits 2nd when the Mets bat in the 8th inning. Roger McDowell, boy, what a find he has been. A sinker baller with a record of 6-5, and he's been money in the bank for New York. A perfect compliment to left-handed Jesse Orozco.
He's made the difference in that bullpen. Ben, while I got a chance here, I'm always asking Monty Basgall and the coaches, and they finally asked me to do something. He and Tommy Lasorda are friendly with the youngster Dave Fanistill in the Wesley Medical Center in Wichita, Kansas. And they know he's watching, and they said, hey, they were thinking about you today, Dave, and wish you a speedy recovery.
Amen. So Ed Lynch went 6 innings. He is the pitcher of record and goes out leading 4-3. Eddie in 6 innings allowed 3 runs, 5 hits, no walks, struck out 3. And now Bill Madlock will go up against McDowell. McDowell 2 1/3 innings last night, gave up a couple of hits and a walk, but no runs.
It's one of the advantages of catching. After a fight, all the hitters come up and give you their version.
Line drive into left center, base hit. Foster and Strawberry, and it's Foster who cuts it off. So Madlock, the tying run at first, and the batter Mike Scioscia.
Mike Scioscia.
Lasorda can go either way with Scioscia. He can bunt or he can play the hit and run because Scioscia can get the bat on the ball.
Naturally, with a sinker ball pitcher and a rather slow-running catcher at the plate, the first thought in mind is to avoid the double play on one side and get it from the other. Scioscia has grounded into 13 double plays. So let's see how they do it.
Well, Madlock had walked off the bag to check with first base coach Manny Mota. I would think he'd be bunting. I'd be looking bunt. You're ready for anything, but you'd be looking bunt.
The Dodgers bunt as much as the Giants. That means first in the National League. Runner going. The pitch is missed at the plate, and Madlock will hold at second. It was not a foul ball. It went to the backstop. And Madlock, had he known that, might have gone to third.
Way inside, right through the umpire's legs at that. Scioscia playing hit and run. Lasorda very daring on that move. Madlock sees the ball get by. He's digging hard now. Thought it was fouled, and now he may think about going to third and stops. He thought that ball was ticked, I believe, Ben.
Yeah, I think so, I'm sure. Now the question is, do you have Scioscia against a sinker baller try to pull him and get the man over to third, or do you go back to what you might have been thinking earlier? Should I let him bunt or not? He has bunted quite a few times. He sacrificed 7 times.
Well, I've been wrong all day. I would let him hit. I'd let him pull the ball, at least pick up a base with an out. He's got to pull the ball. He can do that, and he might punch it through there for a base hit. A lot of gap between short and third because they're expecting him to pull.
Rafael Santana really bird-dogging Madlock. He got the ball to pull, and he hit it inside first and down the line. Madlock will score to tie it up on a double by Scioscia.
Johnson frustrated because Hernandez playing off the bag. Scioscia's not that much of a pull hitter to get it between the first baseman and the bag, but Hernandez a good try and doesn't get it. And now Bill Buehler's going to go out and talk to Scioscia at second base, who may be hurt. Wasn't even a play there, but he slid badly.
Scioscia had cut his knee a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if he reopened the cut or not. And Buehler checking with him.
You know, a play like that, Scioscia's going to loosen up. Always reminds me it's a line that I saw, because what Scioscia would have been happy with is just a ground ball, getting over there. Now he gets the double. They scored a run. He's in scoring position. It's like the guy who went out to kill the big, beautiful eagle, but instead he missed and killed the hawk, and they gave him a ticker tape parade because he killed the hawk, but he always intention was to kill the eagle. And that's what happened here. He wanted a ground ball, hits the double.
So the Dodgers get a Madlock single, a stolen base, a double by Socia to get even. And now Greg Brock is the batter. Greg Brock homered with a man aboard in the 5th inning. One ball and no strike. Today grounded out, and on a 3-1 fastball from Ed Lynch hit a 2-run home run in the 5th inning, and the game has taken a complete change since the 5th inning. In 5 innings, the Mets led 4-0 and had left 9, and the Dodgers had nothing to show for it. But since Brock hit the 2 home runs, or the home run with a man aboard, it has been all Dodgers. Strike. 1-2. Doug Sisk is throwing in the bullpen back of Roger McDowell. 4-4 tie in the 7th inning. Nobody out. And the sinker takes care of it. So there's one sinker ball that could not be pulled or even hit, and the batter is Sachs.
Here's a good look at it. In a good spot. You see it drop out of that strike zone.
There's Sisk heating up, and now it'll be up to Sachs. He is 2 for 2, and Len Matuzik is on deck to hit for Ken Howell. Swing foul, 0-1. Count to Steve Sachs. Socia at second in a 4-4 tie in the 7th inning. In there, strike 2. The Mets scored 2 in the 1st, 2 in the 5th. The Dodgers got 2 in the 5th, 1 in the 6th, and 1 in the 7th to tie it up. Lasorda talking to Basel while Sachs is battling McDowell. Good save by Gary Carter. 1-2. And on a bad knee, you wonder what kind of numbers Carter would have posted if he were an outfielder. Just like I'm sure you wonder what kind of numbers Johnny Bench would have posted if he had played the outfield instead of a catcher. 1-2. Little pop fly on the right side, Keith Hernandez. So 2 down, and Len Matuzik will come up and hit for Howell. And in the Dodger bullpen, Tom Need. So the big guys will be coming in back-to-back. Howell and then Needham.
For the pitcher, Howell, number 17, Len Matuzik.
Appeared as a pinch hitter in the 11th inning last night and had a base hit taken away on a fine play by Keith Hernandez. 4-4 in the 7th. Right. Matuzik, who had been Philadelphia, then went over to the American League, now returns with the Dodgers against Roger McDowell. And that got away from Carter, and Socia goes to third.
And once again, it's the inside pitch. It looks like Gary is just not able to shift, and the ball is trickling off. He's handcuffing him. Pretty good position there, but it's way inside, and you can see he just doesn't move. Tried to reach. He's protecting that leg once again, and it cost him.
So the wild pitch gets a potential tie-breaking run 90 feet away, and with 2 out, 1 ball and 1 strike, the count to Len Matusek. With a sinker ball pitcher out there, you immediately wonder about wild pitches. Well, McDowell has now made 5. A lot of pressure on Gary Carter to make sure another one doesn't get away. 1 ball, 1 strike. 2 out, 4-4 in the 7th. Ground ball into the hole, base hit. So the Dodgers down 4-0, now lead 5-4.
Backman gives it a good effort, but it was a seeing eye job. It was hit hard in the right spot. Couldn't even knock it down.
So Davy Johnson tried to come right back with Roger McDowell, who had worked 2 1/3 innings last night. But really, you have to go back to the Mariano at-bat in the 6th inning. When Duncan struck out, the exchange with Lynch, the hollering and jostling, and the whole complexion has changed. Duncan is gone, Lynch is gone, and so are the Mets lead.
You know, I believe in old-time values. When something works, you keep doing it. In 27, my dad took me to my first ball game. The crowd, the excitement. I took my son in 52.
Maybe it is being overly dramatic, Joe, but don't you think the game took a dramatic change from this moment on as Duncan strikes out?
It could have been the case of almost waking up the sleeping dog. Mariano says something to Lynch. Now you'll see Lynch answering back. Here they go. Come on out. Here I come. And that wakes everybody up. Day game after night game, forget about it. Everybody is involved here. And now...
Then Lynch with 2 out after he had hollered, come on out here. The reason we think this took something out of him is after things were quiet, then you had the home run by Mike Marshall. Then they had to take Lynch out, and I put quotes around the word had. Maybe he was tired. Maybe Davy Johnson just figured that he had burned himself up in that.
It was a stupid fight.
Yeah, oh yeah. Reggie Williams is at first base, running for Len Matusek. There's Reggie, and Dave Anderson, the batter. Doug Sisk is on the mound, so it's been Ed Lynch, Roger McDowell, and now Doug with his 3-5 record. You know, when Reggie Williams, a kid at first base, made his debut the other night at Dodger Stadium, the crowd really kiddingly began to chant, Reggie, Reggie. And after the game, they asked him about it, and he said very matter-of-factly, oh, they did that all the time in San Antonio. Little fly ball into shallow right center. Going to be trouble. Base hit. Overrun by Strawberry. They're sending Williams in. The Shorrock throw. He scores. Down to second goes Anderson.
Tell you that Williams, rounding second base, was running as hard as he could, and give Joey Amalfitano a lot of credit. He was almost at home plate, motioning him on when he saw the ball drop. Great coaching.
When Strawberry overran the ball, that gave Williams the chance to come in. Take another look.
Now he knows he's going to go at least to third. He's not even hesitating here. He's digging hard. Now, he picks up a Malfitano who is way up the line, and I hope we can get him. He's not even in the box, as you can see. Where is the Malfitano? And I'm telling you, he was 15 feet from home plate.
There he is, right there.
There he is, right next to it.
He was right down by home plate. So it is 6-4 Dodgers. Anderson at second. Bouncer over the mound. Behind second is Santana to get him. But the Dodgers get a big 3. And at the end of 7...
Lots of hustle, that's our repeat. That's why he's eating what the big boys eat. Loved his Wheaties since he was small. Now dig in, big boy, have a ball. Classic hit of crunchy wheat. Pure and simple, not too sweet. Dive right into those Wheaties feet. Now go tell your mama what the big boys eat.
We improved the new Ford.
When I think he would have made it.
Well, one thing, Amalfitano went all the way down to the fungo circle, so if he tried to stop him then, it would have been much too late.
He'd have been in no man's land.
So Tom Niedenfuer now trying to save this one for Ken Howell, who is the pitcher of record, and Len Dykstra will be the batter for Rafael Santana.
Vin, I just want to add this note. The two things you don't want to have happen in a pennant race is they get kicked out of a game or an injury because of a fight. And I just say that they were stupid for that reason.
There's ball 1 to Len Dykstra, the little center fielder. He'll be followed by Howard Johnson and then Wally Backman. Foul ball, 1-1. Tom Niedenfuer, who came in, was the pitcher last night who worked 2 innings and surrendered the double to Darryl Strawberry that drove in the only 2 runs of the game. And he's right back in the fire today, as was McDowell. Looper, slice, foul, and out of play. 1-2. So the Mets led 4-0. The Dodgers lead 6-4, and we're in the 8th inning. McDowell, who went 2/3 of an inning, is charged with 3 hits and 3 runs. So the pitchers of record are Howell and McDowell. Fouled away, still 1-2. Top of the 8th. Davy Johnson has seen a 4-0 lead go right down the tubes. 2-2. Lasorda and Peranowski now. Eyes riveted on Tom Niedenfuer. Fouled away again, so Dykstra fouling him off, still up there 2-2. This telecast, presented by authority of Major League Baseball, may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without the express written consent of Major League Baseball. The Dodgers want Landreau to come up and play a more shallow center field, and he finally got the message. 2-2. Ball 3.
And look at him edging back now. He was there for 1 pitch. They all do it.
The Dodger outfield very shallow, and around the left, Guerrero is almost a deep shortstop. Ground ball hard inside first and down the line. Dykstra on his way for 2, and he has a double. So with all the maneuvering of him going the other way, he's able to pull Niedenfuer. So there are 2 key swings. Sosha being able to pull McDowell inside first, and now Dykstra pulling Niedenfuer. It tells you a lot about coming back from last night's game.
He pulled it between the bag and Greg Brock, and it's the pitcher's job. If you're going to stack the defense one way, you better make sure you pitch it that they hit it that way. Now, they can still get base hits, but you have no percentage when they go completely opposite of the way your defense is stacked.
Well, here's Howard Johnson. Told you Garagio hitting .238. 8 home runs, 34 runs batted in. And, of course, as soon as the Dodgers brought in right-handers, he's back in business. He figures to start tomorrow against Hershiser. Fouled away, 0-1.
I'll tell you the truth. I don't want anybody to lose their job, but this eye in the sky and computers and charts and all that, you got a guy hitting .214 and they're over-defensing him.
And, of course, Niedenfuer saying to himself last night, I tried to pitch a round strawberry and I let him beat me. 0-1, the count to Howard Johnson. 1-1. There's Joe Ferguson, former Dodger, big league player. Now the so-called eye in the sky. He's on the phone in direct communication to the Dodger dugout. He travels with the club and does the same thing. And he has a book with a chart. And he now looks out and sees how the Dodgers are playing, and the message is transmitted to the dugout. A shot inside first, but foul. Foul ball. Boy, and that was ripped. 1-1.
That was just foul by inches. Now you can see why Brock would be guarding the line. Madlock at third base is also guarding the line. We're in those innings where this is baseball's answer to the prevent defense in football.
Cut down the chance of the extra base hit. With the Dodgers leading by 2, they don't want the tying run to get into scoring position. And we've already seen Dykstra pull for the double, and Johnson just missed. That has to tell Lasorda something, too. That if they can walk up there and rip Niedenfuer, that he hasn't quite brought enough to the dance. And sure enough, they're moving around in the bullpen. There's going to be somebody up in a minute. Diaz, the left-hander, and Babo Castillo, the right-hander. Yeah, I would think they got the message all right on those 2 swings. 1-2. Breaking ball hit wide at first, backhanded by Brock, overhands to Niedenfuer. That's quite a play.
Yes, sir. That was really a good play because he had to make the play while he was on the move. And he's running away from the bag he has to throw to, which always makes it tough. And watch him. He roams far to his right, comes up with it, and he's still moving when he makes the throw. That's a tough play. Of course, he's got a big target in Niedenfuer. I think he's 9'8", weighs 280, doesn't he?
They don't call him Buffalo because he's small. So with 1 away, Dykstra is now at third. Dodgers leading 6-4. Wally Backman flied to center and singled, hit by a pitch and struck out, stole a base. So he's been busy as usual. Madlock shortens up. Madlock is up inside the bag at third. Brock, however, is guarding the foul line. Ground ball to the hole, and that's going to be grabbed by Sachs, but no play. And that means all the left-hand hitters have pulled Niedenfuer, and you know he doesn't have his grade A fastball.